Alrighty, that was a fun little morning match. Jump in some mapping tutorial stuff. I'll have to clip this and post it to YouTube and everything else today or tomorrow. But let's get some of this stuff done. I got a big list, some requests to fulfill. Happy Turkey Day to everybody in the United States of America. Alrighty, let me get some music. Need some background music. Not sure if you can hear it or not, but hey. Oh, let's go old school. Go 80s. All right. All right. So, what we are talking about today in this one is going to be waypoints. So, what are waypoints? So, in previous tutorials, I talked about spawning units, and moving units, all that good stuff, right? So, what we're going to do today is talk about. Let's make sure everything's running properly here. Talk about waypoints. So, what a waypoint is? Waypoint is waypoint path right here. And the objective of the waypoint is you want to basically tell a spawned unit. Whoa, we're going way 80s. Hold on. Basically, you want to spawn a unit. You want to tell it to go to a certain path, whether it's to patrol the unit, whether it's you just want it to attack from a certain angle, basically anything like that. And the waypoints are really, really important. You can have tons of waypoints in your map. You can also use something called a random action, which I'll go over later. But basically, it will randomly pick a path. That's what I did with Tank Wars, if you've played that one. And yeah, that's what a waypoint path is. So the first thing I'm going to do really is just create my waypoint path, right? So it's going to ask for a path name. I always put WP underscore, and for this example, we can just use it as half track. So it's going to be the waypoint for the half track, right? And so here's my waypoint. It's like a spline. It acts like a spline. So what I want to do is I want to make sure I select it, hit the space bar, and it's going to create it so I can right click anywhere I want to go. Right? So you see a little arrow. So it kind of acts like a spline, right? And so I hit space again to deselect the little things. For your Age of Empire mapper, it's the same thing with walls, everything else. So there's my half track path. And of course, this is not viewable in the game. People will not see it. So how do we use it? All right. So let's jump into adding a playbill. Just to spawn a half track. Spawn half track. Alright. So, jump into this. I covered this a couple of times in the previous tutorials. Spawn squad. Spawn squad. Spawn squad. Alright. We'll make it player one so my guy doesn't attack it. So, I want to spawn American vehicles. I just want to do a basic half track, right? I'm going to lock, spawn AI lock. Basically, it just means that I'm not going to do anything with it anyways. So, S group, really important. Remember, S group is naming this spawn unit. So I'm going to call it half track 1, right? So in my playbill, spawn half track 1, right? So action starts, spawn half track 1, and I'm going to have it start right here. So it's going to spawn my half track there, right? I'm going to wait for purposes of this. Wait 10 seconds. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to follow this path. And you see the arrow, so it goes this way, okay? What I'm going to do is, there's an awesome function here, called SquadPath. SquadPath. Alright, important ones here is attack move. If you want it to do that, I do usually, okay? It's going to ask for a path name. This is the name that we called it right here, WP, so Waypath half track, right? Waypath half track. So the path name is the waypoint path, waypoint path, right there, right? Pause from closest, so it's going to go right here and it's going to drive around, right? You can also make it so, you have to name this. So that's going to be my S group. That's the one I'm spawning, remember? Spawn half track, right? And then I'm going to squad path half track. Well, right, so this is display name, doesn't do anything in the game, just for you to know what's going on. So it's going to basically say half track 1, go to this area and start going around. And it's going to stop right there. Now if I want to do like a patrol, which I do in a lot of my maps, I can just do a normal loop. If you do toggle direction, it just changes, so it just goes the other way. Pause time. I don't really use this, but basically what it does is you put a second in here, right? Then it's going to stop at every dot. Every time there's a thing, it's going to stop for a second, right? But I don't really use that. I think this might be acceptable. And really, that's it, right? So, spawn half track, wait 10 seconds, and it's going to loop around and around and around. And multiple units can use this, so you can spawn units later on, use the same way path. If you have a whole bunch of units, like I do in my escort map, they basically just line up nicely and follow it. So anybody can use waypoint paths, so you can create a whole bunch of them and do it. So let's hit this to immediate to test it, right? Make sure everything's good. All right, we're going to build this. Make sure there's no errors. SquadPath I use a lot. I use it for transports, I use it for troop patrols, I use it for just a whole bunch of stuff. So let's go into the game and test waypoints. The other good thing too is when you start using waypoints, mind you, these things, you want to put them in a group. So you want to put all your waypoints in a group, and the reason for that is these things can become very obstructive in the view, so it's kind of hard to see what you're doing sometimes. So it's nice to just hide them, also lock them, because they do create a really big hit circle. So when you try and select stuff in the middle, it's always going to select, that. So that's what I do. Anywho, let's jump into the test. Test waypoints. My favorite of all time, mod on, sheet commands, so I can see everything that's going on. Alright.
Reinforcements required, Commander.
My half track. And there's no, so you can't see the waypoint, but it's there. So after about 10 seconds, it's going to start going. Waypoint, and it's going to follow that circle. Do you remember that circle I drew? That yellow circle, the waypoint? That's what it's doing right now. It's going to follow the circle all the way around. Made a really big circle. And then when it gets all the way back, it's going to loop and just keep doing it over and over and over again. So again, this is a really good way to create patrols in your maps. And with the attack move, basically if an enemy's here, it's going to attack it. Once it kills it, it's going to continue the waypoint. But it should continue the waypoint. And back to the beginning, now it's going to start all over again. So we looped it, and now it's going to loop. And that's all it's going to do. You can do that forever. Forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. So, again, anybody can use the waypoint. It can be enemies, units, any units, really. And again, there is what it's doing. It's driving all the way around. And like I said, if I decide to spawn another one, for example, half track 2. Right, so another half track opens up. I want to squad path that one. All I'm going to change is this. Right. So now both of them are going to go around in circles and circles and circles. And you can do a loop and everything else. So really helpful, really handy. I use it a ton. So that covers waypoints.